What does that look like? But first, we're going to be looking at technology, crazy cool, interesting technology that is either in existence now, ooh, in the pipeline, or just part of pop culture. And we're going to do it with our guru of all things tech, King. It's his tech report.
See the boy King.
Tech.
How to get so funky?
How did you get so funky? King, hey.
Well, I'm going to give you the same answer I always give you. I have no idea how I got so funky because I was a nerd in high school.
I think that's pretty funky, to be honest. So welcome to King's Tech Report, where today we're going to be talking about brainiac stuff. You have some interesting information on brain stories, brain technology that you've accumulated.
Yes, and again, showing off my nerdiness right now. I watch a lot of sci-fi movies and shows and all of that stuff as a kid, and a lot of things kept repeating in the stuff I watched, like The Matrix, a Japanese anime called Sword Art Online. There is recently, I just finished listening to Ready Player 2, where they have a very similar equipment where it just puts you to sleep and it scans your brain, and your brain is inside the simulation.
Yeah.
And
so what did you said Ready Player 2? What about Ready Player 1?
so here's he wrote a sequel book to the original,
cool.
to the first Ready Player 1 book.
I loved Ready Player One. I loved that imagination. I loved the technology. It was really fun to follow. What a cool movie that was. I mean, I think anyone geeky was like, yeah, I'm all about that. That was pretty cool. There's some really imaginative stuff out there. And then there's some things that are kind of creepy in pop culture, in movies, but also in reality. I have to play you this story. This is real technology that is possibly going to be put in place so they can monitor you as you're working. Listen.
The tech has also been used as an accident prevention tool. In Australia, dump truck drivers who work at coal mines wear EEG caps to make sure they don't fall asleep on the job. If the cap detects a driver falling asleep, it'll send an alert to the user to wake them up. Beyond obvious privacy concerns, it's unclear if this kind of monitoring will actually help create safer workplaces. One policy analyst told Motherboard, these devices create a power imbalance between employers and the employees who have to wear them, and are more likely to damage morale than improve.
Okay, yeah, more likely to damage morale, because that's creepy. That old adage, and forgive me, I forget the founding father who said it, when we trade safety for security, we deserve neither, basically, is what it comes down to. But being able to monitor your brain, we're going to keep you safe. And it's like, yeah, but we're going to be these little monitored automatons. Oh, we're going to get more work out of you and make sure you're doing your job. Creepy. Just saying.
Yeah, it's insanely creepy. All of this stuff is like, once you actually start thinking about it, there is so much of a creep factor. Yeah, it's extremely beneficial to some point, but once we start abusing it, that's when things go wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
and things always go wrong. Does it ever make you sit back when you're watching some of the things that people are doing? Like there's this story talking about cloning the human brain, and they're making these tiny little brains, these little miniature lab-grown brains. And you think, have you people never seen a sci-fi movie? Something always goes wrong. Listen to this.
Groundbreaking research out of Texas that could help people with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Robert Krennick is a neuroscientist at Houston Methodist. He and his team are growing hundreds of miniature brains from stem cells. The brains won't be used in patients. Instead, doctors will study them to learn more about neurological diseases and brain
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So, that sounds great because it can help, but there's always that creep factor. We'll talk about that creep factor and why I think it is a little bit later, but I want to glean your brain, King, and find out some of the other things that you've been able to research for us to share on what's going on with brain technology out there.
Well, first thing that comes to mind, and there's keep in mind, it gets really creepy again. I'm sorry, but like keep in mind this technology is initially meant to help um, amputees control their prosthetic limbs, because that's kind of the biggest problem, as far as I know. I should say, as far as I know, the biggest problem for amputees is getting used to an artificial limb, because all of the artificial limbs we have access to, we can't control the same way as our normal limbs, and we don't have the same articulation. Our artificial limbs don't have the same articulation. And so it's that psychological barrier of losing something that you can't fathom not having to begin with.
Yeah, that is pretty
Um,
amazing.
Sorry, I got a little bit off track.
No, that's
But the
okay. But
technology
but
that
you
we're talking
understand the
about,
importance of the technology is really what you're saying. But what about the
yeah,
technology to you is like amazing and creepy? Not only being able to create a new Neuralink between those artificial limbs that they do provide, but that's not where it stops.
no, it's not. And um, as the technology I was talking about specifically is Neuralink by Elon Musk, because
Ooh.
your favorite mad scientist is at it again.
Do we get the creepy
But
science? This is the I don't know about real sign
ooh,
language, but which I think is a great American language. But this to me is all things creepy. Fingers go up in the air, and you're like, ooh, yeah, that's it. Oh.
do the Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. That's right. You have to be watching this live, otherwise you're going, what
Oh
are
yes,
they talking
oh
about?
yes. But anyway, um, aside from just controlling amputee limbs, or artificial limbs, the plan for Neuralink is to also essentially connect the human brain to the internet. And
Wow.
that has its risks, rewards, of course. Like, reward is being able to literally instantly connect. Like, we may still have our phones that will instantly connect to other phones, but and implanting these chips are going to take away that extra step. Um,
Wow.
and then that could mean leaps and bounds for that could also mean leaps and bounds for things like video games, virtual reality, like I said about Ready Player 2, changing the game from a headset and controllers to you literally put the person in a dormant state of mind to
Okay, our
simulation.
technology is kind of bleeping out a little bit. I don't know. Your Neuralink link to the Computer King is kind of freezing up. I hate it when that happens. I watched, or rather, I read a book a long time ago, and it was just at the beginning of the internet. It was a book called Toto Santos, I want to say, and it was long before we even realized that all of the capabilities of the internet. And it essentially had a computer chip that linked us to a computer, like a centralized computer. During downloads, everybody was doing their thing, and then suddenly they're downloading. Silence. They're just frozen in time. And some of the weirdness of having everybody connected at the same time, that's the thing that we fear, is the loss of humanity with that kind of interfacing with technology, to get to the point where we are nothing. What are they calling it? Like the next step in human evolution is the merge with technology. I find it creepy because we don't even understand the technology we have in us. And as we're going to be talking a little later on the program, King, our brain is more advanced than all of the technology in the world combined. It's more powerful, it's more advanced, it takes less energy, it's more efficient. Our brain is something that we have yet to even fathom, and yet we want to mess with it. Go figure.
Human nature.
There you go.
That's all I can say. I mean, like, literally, the only reason that we are technically considered apex predators is because we chose to be that way. We gained the intelligence to say, screw that, let's do this instead.
Or were we programmed that way? And that's part of what we're going to be talking about next, is the brain programming and how we are programmed and where did that program come from. We're going to talk about a God spot that's been discovered in our brain. Did that come from, did we evolve that way, or were we programmed that way? And that creep factor, to me, that creep factor says there's something bigger here. We have this self-awareness that comes in our brain that makes us realize that there is something powerful about our brain, and messing with it can be kind of creepy. But you know what is not creepy? What is not creepy is our very own tech guy, the guru of all technology, King. In our King Tech Report today, we have been talking about the brain, and in honor of our brain, I thought I would play just a portion of a brain song that I think is so funny. I think you'll recognize this song by Jonathan Coltrane. It's called Your Brain.
That's what I do, and I plan on eating you slowly. All we wanna do is eat your brains. We're not unreasonable. I mean, no one's gonna eat your eyes.
This is for you, King.
All we wanna do is eat your brains. We're at an impasse here. Maybe we should compromise. Open up the door. We'll all come.
All right, there you go. It's a funny song about, well, brains and zombies, and we're talking about brains today. Zombies are not on the table, sorry to say, but in honor of you, if I were a zombie, your brain would be a delicacy, King. Thanks for joining us today. Where's my Teen Tech Report song? Oh, we're still playing the zombie thing. That was just I know. It was supposed to happen. That's okay. You get it anyway. Here you go.
See the boy King.
Tech.
How to get the funky.
I like it.